We are live and we are here
Live.
ready to talk some more Loki.
Loki live. Welcome back.
So, I would like to say, as we start off, I am very proud of us for sticking on
Yeah.
this week after week. I thought we were doing a
It's
very good job. We tried to do it with the other
yeah.
shows, but we couldn't do it. But we got it on Loki.
Yeah, I mean we really tried. We ended up doing what, 2 episodes for Mandalorian. It was like, let's just do a season wrap up. And
Yeah,
then same thing with Falcon and
yeah,
the Winter Soldier. But here we are week after week coming to you bringing the Loki live reviews, real reviews. And
yeah.
boy, do we have an episode to talk about today.
Yes, we do. Gary, I have no
Woo.
idea your thoughts from this. I definitely have some thoughts. And
Yeah.
just for the record, and Gary can show you, I texted him last night about a theory. And I
You did?
texted him beforehand because I was like, just in case they show it, which they
You
didn't, which
didn't.
again, more to talk about. And I'll explain that little theory of mine later. But
Yeah.
here we go. Let's dive into Loki. Maybe let's just start off with some initial thoughts. Gary, what'd you think, sir?
It was great. I loved this episode dearly. I thought it was action packed and it progressed the story quite a bit. And honestly, I have to credit your text message. Where did you go? You're gone. I'm talking to
Oh, no,
myself
you're
now.
good. I'm
Oh,
doing
okay.
something different. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Do what you must. Your text message with your theory came before I finished the episode. And it made me, I think that theory made me enjoy it even more because it made me more pay attention more, if that makes sense, you know? But, yeah, so this was an episode that not only was it well done, full of action, full of story, it was funny, but it caused me to, apparently there were a ton of Easter eggs in this episode. Stuff I had no clue about. I had to go watch a Watch Mojo video to even see some of them, and stuff I had no clue about. And it was like comic book Easter eggs, pop culture Easter eggs, urban legend. It's just like, so I just really like when they do stuff like that. But yeah, this was my favorite episode so far.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So glad to hear those initial thoughts. There were a lot of Easter eggs. Probably the one I noticed right off the bat was when they were walking through. You saw what's his name? Yellow Jacket's helmet,
Yep.
like the big yellow jacket helmet. I was like,
Yep.
oh, look at that. And then I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. And then I was like, okay, so this is probably what some people were talking about before, some kind of quantum realm esque maybe kind of place, which leads into my little theory, which we'll get into here in a second. But Gary, my initial thoughts, man, like on some of this, when I was watching through this, like I liked the way it started off. I liked what they showed with the different Lokis and stuff, and how they built on top of that. I like that, and then I just like how kind of a little bit of banter. I like that we saw Owen Wilson. We saw him come back. The guy who got pruned before, and we just kind of saw this more of a rescue mission for Loki, and to try to get him out of there, especially once Sylvie found out that he's not actually dead, which of course they had to get to that immediately because it's only one episode.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good. I think for me though, it felt half of it felt filler again for me,
Oh,
and
okay.
and so I was just kind of like, oh come on, like we need to get this thing to progress a little bit, but unfortunately they again a little bit filler, and I think maybe I wouldn't have felt this way if it wasn't for episode 3, which we've talked about.
Yeah,
Um,
episode 3.
and so yeah, and so I just think that uh, again you have 2 episodes left, you have a lot to cover, and I felt like there was a little bit of filler time, and then especially when him and Sylvie were cuddling themselves under on tablecloth. So
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I get
yeah,
that.
and I'm just like, really,
Yeah.
like the show has time for this.
No.
I'm just kind of like, I know they're like trying to show that they actually trust each other and stuff, because what we saw earlier in the episode is you can never trust a Loki of any kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we saw that there are some you can trust, and this Loki, our Loki that we're used to, you can now trust him. He's already he's already kind of progressed, through his character a little bit, or a lot, really, not a little bit, a lot, considering which Loki this is. So you're seeing that, but I guess for me, I just felt like, okay, we already saw that growth from the Loki where he came from Avengers, to the Loki that we know at Infinity War. Like I felt like, okay, well, one sense we already seen that part of the story, and this story, I just felt like, okay, we got to that point, and I guess this is why I felt filler, is like we're still talking about it. And I'm just like, okay, listen, this is the second time you're showing the same exact character development, just in a different take. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
taking 3 episodes to talk about it again? Like, let's move on to the plot. So that's why for me,
Mm-hmm.
like, it felt
I get that.
a little fluffy.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. What did you think of the hug? Oh, we spoiling things? We spoiling things?
Oh, you have to. I mean, they
Yeah.
got to know by
Yeah.
now. Like, listen,
Very nice bromance hug between Morbius and Loki, you know?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And
goodbye,
then Morbius,
friends.
of course, looked at Sylvie. You're my favorite. Like,
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah.
I thought that
Owen
was good
Wilson,
too.
he adds so much to this character. I've been watching that guy in movies for years, and I know it's been brief, but this is probably my favorite role of his so far.
Mhm.
Because he's not like he's Owen Wilson, but he's not like the hey wow, all
Right.
constantly. He really is owning this character, and I hope we get
Yeah.
to see more of him in different
Yeah.
avenues, I guess.
I hope they didn't leave us hanging with his character at the end of this episode. I
Yeah.
hope we at least see something that maybe will show us a little bit more after
Mm-hmm.
after next week, since next week's the last one.
Yeah.
So, and
Which
I will
is
say
crazy.
that, like, yeah, I know, and that's why part of me, I'm like, dude, we got a lot to cover. Like, how are
Mm-hmm.
you gonna wrap this up? And I'm just hoping that what they don't do is what they did in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they just rushed the ending,
Yes.
and then it just
Yeah.
didn't feel as satisfying. Everything felt rushed. It felt forced, and it felt like this was less about Cap and Winter Soldier and more about,
Mm-hmm.
again, the message of it
Message,
all.
yeah.
And I was just kind of like, man, like, just tell a good story. But
Yeah.
so, and that's what I'm afraid of with this one. And this episode did not help me in that. Although stuff like this, dag nabbit, stuff like this picture.
Oh yeah.
Like this stuff was awesome.
That was my
Like
favorite.
seeing-
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing the different Lokis, seeing them
Mm-hmm.
interact and all that kind of stuff. That was honestly my favorite part of the whole episode.
Same. And that's why I loved it so much. Like this scene here when he says, President Loki, I guess is what you
Yeah.
call him, is which one of us are you, or something like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
why is there an alligator down here? And there's alligator Loki. And that banter between, kid Loki, old man Loki. Old man Loki was awesome
Yes,
at
he
the
was.
end, just coming in to help. And I did think President Loki reminded me more of the Loki we're used to than
Yes.
any of them. I was like, that's the Loki we saw in the Avengers right there,
Yeah.
But yeah, this stuff was great, and just I want to know the story of Alligator Loki. I need more,
Yes.
and I want Alligator Loki and Groot to go on adventures together.
Oh yeah.
I think
that would be awesome.
that would be amazing, But yeah, look at that. We got an Alligator Loki, and
Yeah. I know when I saw
spoiler
that.
alert.
When I saw that, I was just like, yes, you know how much I love alligators and my dream of catching one with my bare hands. And I'm like, they have an alligator Loki. I was all about it.
I was like, did Efron write some of this show? Did he get this got his fingerprints all over it?
Just this part. And then
Yeah.
when what have I told you about my dreams? About my
Yeah.
dream, and I wanted to catch it. I had an opportunity. The wife did not let me, and I was like, "What would I do at best? Lose a hand? Come on, I have a great story." And what happened in
There
this
you go.
episode?
Loses
A
a
Loki
hand.
lost a hand. See,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah. And I want to credit Watch Mojo, their video for the Easter eggs. They talk about apparently Tom Hiddleston voiced Captain Hook in a animated Peter Pan movie. I forgot what it was called. And so they thought this might have been a minor callback to that with his hand getting cut off by an alligator, bitten off by an alligator.
Right
What if that's the alligator you didn't catch? He's in that
there,
place,
he is. There he is.
But yeah.
And
Yeah, I
even
get
love
what you're saying about the filler stuff, though. I do think there was a bit much. The Loki girl, Loki guy stuff is weird to me. Like,
the Sylvie, you mean?
yeah, Sylvie.
Okay.
Just not that it's weird that she's a girl, but like, I don't like. Are they trying to be a love interest, or I know they're trying to?
Yeah.
That's just bizarre,
Which honestly, I was thinking about that same thing, and I'm like, this is kind of weird that they're showing to be some kind of love interest, but at the same time, the stuff that we know about Loki, and I think Mobius said it. He's like, the only person Loki can truly love is himself. So it
Yeah, it's true. You did say
so
yeah.
at least it kind of makes sense. But at least it's
Yeah.
So at least we're all kind of on par to his character, where it's like he has no real love interest other than the love of himself. And so at least it kind of makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. Speaking of another Morbius moment in this, when they said, "What will you do to the TVA?" I'll burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah. So and then they fight the Panther monster thing from Aladdin. there at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
And that's where I was just kind of like, all right, we know this is happening. Let's get to the
mhm,
point. Like I was okay with Loki saying, I'm gonna kill it, and Sylvie's like, you're an idiot. We're
yeah,
gonna enchant it. Like, okay, like this
mhm,
kind of makes sense, and they led to that. So I thought that was good. It was just one of those like, let's kind of okay, because let's put it this way. I did not mind the banter between him, like Loki kid, and
mhm,
then Black Loki, and then old Loki, and like kind of the banter and stuff like that. There, like that, I didn't mind because
yeah,
like that added. You got to see different characters a little bit, and it added a little bit more. You see the Loki we know trying to understand other Lokis, even understand himself a little better. And I thought that whole part was good. And then when the other Lokis showed up and they all started fighting and arguing, that all was fantastic.
mhm,
But then so like leading up to that, I thought that was good. But then we had this like again, him and Sylvie moment and Mobius
mhm.
moment. And it was just kind of like, okay, guys, you have 45
Moving
minutes.
on.
We don't have
Yeah.
10 minutes to talk about this. Let's get to the point.
Mhm.
And then the ending, if it wasn't for old Loki, coming
Yeah.
in at the end and saving the day, I think that ending would have been way too long, but I felt like
Oh yeah.
it was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. That was cool. Old Loki coming there at the end. And as much as I did enjoy this episode, I will say there are two things that I have that give me pause. Is it cause or pause for concern?
Cause for concern, I guess.
Cause for
Yeah,
concern.
makes more sense.
And that is what you were talking about a little bit ago, which is a rushed finale.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hoping when we finally get to see the big reveal of who's behind all this,
Mm-hmm.
I just really hope it's not just another Loki, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think that kind of worries me. I think that'd be kind of like a wah, wah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, hopefully next week. Is there any, check the IMDb machine. Is there anything on the runtime for next week's episode?
Yeah, I don't know, but if it's on par with the other two, it'd probably be the same amount of length. Neither one of the last two. See, because like with Mandalorian, the first and last episodes are always longer than all
Mhm.
the episodes in the middle. But
Gotcha.
WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier did not give us that. They did not give us a longer. They gave us a pretty long opening, like maybe like 10 minutes longer, but they didn't give us
Mhm.
anything at the end, which
Yeah.
made at least Falcon and Winter Soldier feel rushed. WandaVision didn't feel as rushed, but where the
Mhm.
whole season was just this huge deep dive into the
Mhm.
character of WandaVision, it didn't feel rushed. It kind of felt like, okay, here we go. I mean, the fight scenes and stuff at the end was kind of rushed, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like as bad. But so that's why I'm just kind of like, we'll see. What I'm hoping is with the ending. Okay, so I pulled up this picture too, just so we can kind of talk about this part. If I can find it, here we go. So I got this picture pulled up. So with this scene right here, where you have the both of them, they've enchanted it. They're looking through. They're seeing this house. I really hope this thing picks up right there, and they're right in the middle of dealing with whoever's behind all this.
Yeah.
And then if it's 45 minutes of them trying to battle this person, I think I will be okay with that because this is a person who has done this with all of time. Like this is bigger than Thanos, right? Like this is something really crazy. So it should take you at least in a 45-minute show, the whole show, to take this person down. Or I would be okay with they don't take them down and this leads into one of the Phase 4 movies. I would be
Yeah.
okay with that too.
I can see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if the ending of this doesn't do something to lead to that, because if it doesn't, then I'm going to feel like, what was the point of that? That was a
Right.
nice little side story.
Yeah. Nice little side
yeah.
quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, what? Cool. Sorry.
but it's a really cool image. Very green.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Muted there. You have to hear me talk to the children. But anyway.
I spaced out looking at the picture, which I know does not help our podcast listeners.
Yeah, I know. My apologies to everyone. But the thing with this, so going back to the theory, right? So here's what I did. Last night, you're hearing it here first, folks. Last night, I texted Gary, and I said, hey, before I get into episode 5, I want to throw this out there just in case they revealed it, and I wanted Gary to know this came from me. And all I typed was Ultron. That was it. That's all I typed. And so my thought process behind this is at the end of Age of Ultron, Vision said he didn't want to kill Ultron because he's a fascinating being. He has the Mind Stone. All right, so he has a Mind Stone. He shoots it at Ultron, but Vision and Ultron both disappear. So there is no like real death scene of Ultron. Who knows where they took him? You know, we talk about how people talk about like the Soul Stone, like maybe Thanos went into the Soul Stone, saw little Gamora. You know, there's this whole scene where Iron Man was supposed to go in the Soul Stone, but you know, it happened differently. But anyways, so what if this is quantum realm stuff? What if this is where Vision sent him? Because it was like, I mean, because Vision knew something. He's like, they're doomed anyways. Vision knew something bigger was going on. Everyone just assumed it was Thanos. I mean, Ultron did, and Vision knew it. And when you look at this house, it made me even like that, or this castle. Doesn't this castle look like the same one in Age of Ultron? At least similar.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty similar. When I saw it, and I was like, yo, that's the same thing in, I forget the name of the country he was in. Sokovia.
Sokovia.
And so I was like, it looks pretty similar. Now, at the same time, it also could look like something out of Doctor Strange. It could look like, I mean, it could look like, you know, other things. But to me, it just kind of made sense because I know one big complaint for Marvel fans. It's like Ultron was finished in one movie. Like this wasn't really an Age of Ultron. This was like maybe a week of Ultron.
Yeah, a week of Ultron. Yeah.
Like it was just kind of. It was kind of and like so. I think me personally, they were able to bring him back because he's wanted complete control over humanity. He feels like he's the only one who can truly keep humanity going and together because humans have too many flaws. Blah blah. I mean, and especially with what we saw last episode, where you saw the robots were the were the three dudes, and so what if this is him behind the scenes of it all? Orchestrating all this to control. He doesn't want any deviation of time or anything. He wants to keep everything perfect and the way it is. And then you had this whole idea of, you know, they're still writing time. There is no end of time kind of thing. So I don't know. That was kind of my theory. Maybe this is in my opinion, be a good way to bring Ultron back. Even if it is just for this, or maybe this leads into other things. Maybe Ultron is our new big bad that comes back because he comes back in the comics all the time.
Yeah,
he came back in the old TV series. Like he always finds a way back. They always have a hard time really getting rid of Ultron. So I think that'd be something. In my opinion, it'd be something interesting instead of trying to introduce a new big bad like Kang the Conqueror, like we've talked before, or you know Galactus could be introduced, but other characters should probably be in there if they want to do things right. But you know they don't listen to the fans all the time. Anyway, so that's my opinion.
I would be thrilled if that were to happen because I loved Ultron. I loved James Spader voicing Ultron. Big fan of his, and I personally loved that movie. I know a lot of people don't really care for Age of Ultron, but I loved it, and he was a big reason why. So if he came back and he was pulling strings on all this, no pun intended, because he's got no strings on him.
That's right.
That would be awesome. I don't want to but I just want to say, folks, you heard it here first from Efren. Just want to throw it out there. If it doesn't happen, hey, fair enough. Right. But you heard it here, and that would excite me. It was something I didn't even think about. I was like, oh, the Ant-Man stuff, the quantum realm. Yeah, I heard that, and that would interest me. It still does, especially with what's his name, Yellow Jacket, Hornet, helmet. But let's see. Yeah. I'm trying not to get to where I'll be disappointed if it's not. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get to that place where, okay, if it's not that, then I don't want it to hanker my enjoying of it because it could be really cool. I just don't want it to be another Loki. Right. I think that'd be lame.
Right. Yeah, and I'm just taking guesses based on what I would like to see. I mean, listen, back in the day, in comics and stuff, I mean, they had the prison in the quantum realm. So the big bats couldn't get out anymore. So it would just be a good callback, I think, to be like, hey, Ultron was imprisoned in the quantum realm. Maybe the events of Endgame, kind of opened up that reality. Maybe he did some stuff. I mean, they're making it sound like this happened forever ago. But the thing is, even if it was Ultron, he goes in the quantum realm, he figures out time. He can go back in time and set all this stuff in motion. And the end is still being written because he's still figuring out his plan. It could still all fit with what we've got, at least in my opinion. So, Kevin Feige, call me. I can write it for you.
Yeah. I mean, the only other scenario is we find out Howard the Duck is pulling all the strings.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, I could see that, So we'll see.
Listen, if it's Howard the Duck, I'd laugh my head off. That'd be hilarious. I would love that. Because as a small child, I did enjoy that movie. As an adult, not so much. But as a small child, I love that movie.
Do you love do you love the cameo in was it Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
In the back, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Like, yeah, it's Howard the Duck.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to figure out what's it going to tie into, and it's Howard the Duck.
Yep, that's what it is.
Anyway, well, that's Loki episode 5. What did you think? Let us know. And do you have theories on how this is going to wrap up? Also, let us know.
Yep, write down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit that like button, turn on the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And yes, we have a podcast. I got things worked out, so you should be seeing us on Apple and Spotify. We will just be uploading on there our episodes, reviews and stuff will still be on here until we can afford to put more episodes up. But that's a conversation for another day. So check us out over there on Apple and a podcast, Spotify podcast, so you can hear your favorite real pastors talking about a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So
and we'll be back soon with a Black Widow review, as we are going to see that tonight.
Yes, we are, and I am excited to do so. It's about time.
I know, right? Been a long time. So anyway,
awesome. See you, everybody.
See you, homies. From the left. All right. Goodbye.